In 1859, a new problem arose in connection with the help the Oratory gave to the diocese by supplying its own trained clerics for cathedral services. Canon Vogliati, seminary rector and diocesan administrator, sent for Don Bosco and asked him to continue rendering those religious services. Don Bosco thought it over for a few days and answered, in a way that might surprise you. The Miracles and Prophecies of St. John Bosco, a project of America Needs Fatima. I'm your host, Adrian Fonseca. Subscribe for new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In today's episode, we'll witness Don Bosco navigating complex relationships with church authorities while staying true to his mission of serving the youth. As we explore the revealing story, keep these themes in mind. The challenge of maintaining focus on your mission despite opposition. How true intentions eventually become clear through persistent good works. And the importance of standing firm in what you know to be right while remaining humble and respectful. And a question for you. Have you ever faced opposition while trying to do what's right? How did you handle it? What happened exactly? I'd be curious to know. And a second question for you. Are you able to attend Mass regularly? Do you want an extra weekly Mass prayed exclusively for your intentions? How about an extra weekly Mass and a daily rosary prayed for you by us here at the St. John Bosco channel? Click the link in the description box down below to become a monthly promoter of Don Bosco and have a traditional Catholic Mass prayed for you, rosaries every day, and much more. Click the link below. A letter appeared on the canon's desk in mid-November. Turin, November 12, 1859. Very Reverend and Dear Rector, I have repeatedly tried to find a way to free a few clerics for the cathedral services, as you requested. But their absence from here coincides with the time of religious services in the various oratories to which they are all assigned. Since I have no other help, these clerics of mine are busy from morning to night, weekdays and Sundays, teaching catechism and supervising youngsters in church and outside at this and the other oratories. I have kept only those I strictly need, but if special solemnities require more clerics at the cathedral, I shall willingly do my best to let you have them. Incidentally, Canon Anglesia has quite a few clerics who are not as hard-pressed as ours. Would it not be a good idea to ask him? Father Good has asked my cleric, Molino, to help at St. Philip Neri Church. But we too have church services and other activities, and I can't spare him. I therefore beg that you kindly leave him free. I am enclosing the good conduct certificates of our clerics for their summer vacations. May I remind you about an imprimatur for the life of St. Cornelius? Gratefully yours, Father Don Bosco. I personally admire Don Bosco for standing his ground here and protecting the men and boys under his charge. He didn't want his clerics to be taken advantage of, nor did he want the oratory boys deprived of all the liturgical pomp and circumstance intrinsic to a beautiful Christmas Mass. Unfortunately, these controversies, though always courteous and friendly, prompted some people to accuse Don Bosco of trying to gain the upper hand in the diocese and of maneuvering for independence from his superiors. Misunderstandings were bound to arise. Occasionally, the chancery refused him certain permissions. On one such occasion, without mentioning his mission and plans, Don Bosco remarked, "Look, Reverend Fathers, I ask for nothing for myself. I am serving the diocese and receive no salary. I work solely for the good of souls. All I ask is to be let alone to work for God's glory." On hearing anyone misconstrue his intentions as acting from a desire to be independent, he would retaliate. Examine my undertakings and my writings, and you will find the spirit that moves me. Check my public life and all I do. If you find anything reprehensible, point it out, and I shall be grateful to you and do my very best to correct it. But please be specific. Once when Canon Nasi visited the Archbishop at Lyons, he was asked, "When all is said and done, is Don Bosco doing good or harm?" The canon, a sincere friend of the Oratory, gave the Archbishop the facts and assured him that Don Bosco was doing a great deal of good for the diocese. A little while later, a 3-priest commission went to Lyons to report to the Archbishop on diocesan affairs. While there, the 3 priests considered it their duty to present various accusations against Don Bosco to the Archbishop. Among other things, they asserted that he was planning to found a seminary of his own and have boys and clerics residing at the Oratory to provide personnel for his institutions, which, if it were true, would have shown a blatant disregard for the Archbishop's episcopal rights. The priest intended to put enough pressure on the kindly prelate to induce him to write to Don Bosco to abandon any such plan, perhaps even hinting at the possible closing of the Oratory boarding school. The Archbishop, however, knowing Don Bosco's intentions, let the priests have their say, and then tersely replied, "I have made confidential inquiries and have found nothing to substantiate your complaints. On the contrary, I have learned that much good is being done at the Oratory, so do not hinder or place obstacles in the way of one who is doing what I cannot do myself in Turin." We shall close today's video with a comment by Canon Bayesio. Quote, "I think I can state that the enemies and adversaries of Don Bosco, of his name and of his works, were and are the enemies of good. I remember quite well that if righteous people happened to disagree with him on some detail, or found some deficiencies in his undertakings, they nevertheless agreed with him in their substance. Especially in the early times of the Oratory, it did happen that some prominent ecclesiastics suspected his intentions and even fought him. But as far as I know, when these people came to know the real facts, they changed their minds and in nearly all cases became his friends and benefactors." Don Bosco's experience with opposition and misunderstanding offers us valuable lessons that remain relevant today. His response to criticism demonstrates the delicate balance between standing firm in one's mission while maintaining humility and respect for authority. With the benefit of hindsight, we already know the answer to the Archbishop of Turin's question: is Don Bosco doing good or harm? However, the passage of 150 years and the title of saint can sometimes whitewash our perception of the daily struggles that this man faced in pursuing God's will and serving Our Lady. What we can learn from this episode reaches far beyond its historical context. Don Bosco showed us that when faced with opposition, we need to be focused on the mission, transparent with our actions, and let the fruits of our work speak for themselves. His response to criticism was never defensive, but always inviting scrutiny and correction if warranted. The Archbishop's final verdict, quote, "I have learned that much good is being done at the Oratory, so do not hinder or place obstacles in the way of one who is doing what I cannot do myself in Turin." End quote. This serves as a powerful reminder that truth and goodness eventually becomes evident, even to those who initially doubt our intentions. As Canon Bayesio noted, those who took the time to understand Don Bosco's work invariably became his supporters. This transformation from opposition to support reminds us that persistence in doing good, coupled with humility and transparency, can overcome even the strongest skepticism. Even though today's episode didn't feature any prophecies or miracles, it gives us a clear picture of the boots on the ground perseverance that's needed to become a saint. In our own lives, let's remember to keep our boots on the ground and never give up, just as Don Bosco did. But what resonated with you from today's story? Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for joining me today. St. Don Bosco, pray for us. May God bless you, and Mary Immaculate keep you under her mantle. God love you.